Thank you for tuning in to another segment, and I am your host, Onney, the CEO. Today I have another phenomenal diva in the building who is making moves for the community. I want you to buckle up your seatbelts. This is going to be a very intimate show. You are now plugged in, tuned in, tapped in to Outside the Box. I'm just going to say thanks once again, and without further ado, I want to introduce our guest for the evening. We have Coach Nicky Jay, also known as, Nicky Jackson, in the building. Let's give her a round of applause. Yes. You are a dear friend of mine, and I look up to you and everything that you are doing in the community. And I just want to say thank you for taking the time to come out on the show and share your story and your journey and your light with us. I want you to introduce yourself and tell the world what it is that you do.
I am Nicky Jackson, Coach Nicky Jackson. I go by all platforms by Nicky Jay. I'm a certified life coach. I'm a certified Christian counselor. I am the founder of two nonprofits, one for children in foster care, and the other one is also for children in domestic violence. And actually, not just children's domestic violence, everyone that's a part of the domestic violence family. I'm the owner of Keep It Pumping CPR Training. We are a full-service CPR training center. I am the owner of Professional Tax Solutions, where we're a full-service tax office. Also, I have a girls group home that's called There's Still Hope, that right now we're under construction, and we got something new coming up within the next couple months. So I'm super excited about being here.
That's that brown girl magic. See, I did it again. I brought it on again. I'm so grateful to have you here, and I actually want to know more about Beyond Fostering, but I have a video. I want to check it out. Now, you do a lot of things, and we will tap on quite a few of them. But for right now, I actually want to go back to Beyond Fostering, because right now, especially with everything going on in the community around the nation, a lot of kids are displaced from school and educational, and I'm sure that the facilities that normally look after them, whether it's after school programs or what have you, they are impacted by the loss of that. How have you seen the impact or been a part of it?
Part of our program we offer is an after-school program. So, of course, we had to close all 9 of our sites. After that, we went in this week to see what services we could provide, because, we're talking about kids that we feed on a day-to-day basis, providing snacks for them, also other resources, after-school program, Boys and Girls Club. Everything has been shut down. Just a few days ago, I met with a few of my parents that we had a few resources like milk, applesauce, some things that they could use. And we did a survey that day, because these are some things that, it was unexpected. But then now they're like, what's next? What do we do? The daycares are closed that was usually taking care of some of the kids. Some of the facilities are closed because of certain situations with the state and the health department. And then, we have a lot of placements that took place today where kids needed places to go. And, unfortunately, you can call all day long and say, hey, can you take 3 kids in? But if I already have 3 children and I have no means of, I don't know where the next dollar is going to come from. I don't know if we're going to have food tomorrow, because, we're waiting on the stores to open up every morning. It could be kind of hard. So, at this point, it is a waiting period, but, we just trying to be mindful, talk to the parents, give them some encouragement, and just let them know the purpose that God placed them on earth to do. So that's it.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. And what inspired you to start the nonprofit organizations that you have?
Well, we talk about Beyond Foster. My mom was a foster parent. I wasn't a foster child, but she raised so many kids. And as I got older, that was one of the things that I would always think about, and we was, as time went on, I started researching, and I started the group home first. And from the group home, there was things that happened that I was seeing that I wasn't getting any help from the agencies. And I'm like, these are things you want a kid to live a normal life because they pass this thing called normalcy. But where did those activities come from? I want my foster kids to be able to go to the movies like other kids. So at that point, I say, you know what, I'm going to start some type of organization. Didn't even know it was a nonprofit for these kids to have resources where they can feel like they are a regular child. So that was the main reason why I started Beyond Fostering, and we've grown from there. Also, I have a nonprofit. It's called Living in Pure Silence, because I was a victim of domestic violence at the age of 16. Going into my early years as being an adult, about 4 years ago, I lost my daughter to domestic violence. So that was a time for me to step in, and have a voice for the people that don't have one.
Wow. So your test became a testimony. You turned your pain into purpose.
Yeah.
That's deep. And so at that time, I just have to ask you, how did you find the strength to be a voice? Like, where did that strength come from?
It came from, I would say, her community, because as an adult, we can talk and we can, at the age of 30, I can tell you, girl, don't do this, don't do that. But where does it start? It didn't start at 30. It didn't start at 35. It didn't start at 40. It started at the core. So my core age was 15. So at that time, I hid so much from my parents because I was like, I thought that was normal. So being the voice of, at her age, we're talking about a child that's in her 20s. What happened to the little girl? So sometimes we got to go back and speak to the little girl. So that was one of the reasons why I had to become a voice, not just for the little girl, but also for the little boys, because we can't forget our domestic violence service, men and women, because we have to make sure we cover everybody.
Right.
And there are men that are victims as well.
Yes.
So I always say broken girls turn into broken women. Broken boys turn into broken men. And if there's no help, no healing process,
they just create broken children.
Yep. And you you keep repeating the cycle.
Yeah. So you also have a CPR business.
I do.
And so what inspires you to not only learn it, but want to teach it to others? Was that something that was a requirement and it just kind of turned into another manifestation?
No, actually, it didn't. So I'm a big researcher, right? And I find things that if I go somewhere and I see there's a need for it, I'm a research. And so years ago, I had needed to take a CPR class for a job. And I called all week looking for a class. And everybody was like, the weekend, 2 weeks out, 3. And I could not find a class within the next 2 weeks. And I'm like, it has to be a demand for this. And when I saw the demand, I jumped on it.
Right, right. I saw your classes are packed.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, we started online, as of yesterday because of the situation that's going on right now, because, we still have healthcare professions that need this service,
Right.
So we definitely want to make sure that we still able to service them as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. So when you decided to branch off into all these different avenues, I don't even know which one to hit first, because you have your tax service. Girl, I need my taxes done. I ain't got
Come
no
on,
taxes
look, I got you.
I still ain't filed them things. Yeah, I need all my coins. I mean, I might not get nothing back, but I don't want to have to pay for being late either.
Trust
Okay,
me, we got you. Oh no, they did an extension yesterday, so you're good.
Okay, how long?
Yeah, for 90 more days.
90
so
more
after
days.
the April 15th.
Okay,
so you're
I
good.
got some time. I got time.
Yeah.
But did you have a support team when you decided? Now, the domestic violence, I could imagine that with all your daughter's peers, that there were support teams for that movement. But when you decided to branch off into create Beyond Fostering and be a voice for these children and these parents and working in the system, what did you have a support team at that time?
When I started, I didn't. But along my journey, God has sent people. And I always tell people, God gave me the vision, but I need vision carriers to help me carry out this vision. So along the journey, I can truly say people have stepped up. Can I volunteer? Can I help? And, that's pretty much how we run our operations.
That's awesome as well. So if you could do anything different, like what would that be?
Honestly, I pretty much enjoy what I do. I I couldn't even say what I would do different.
Would
I
you have
wouldn't.
started sooner, maybe, or would you have just just take it, just had how it came?
I don't think so because I'll tell you, I started work when I was 13 years old, and my mom was like, I didn't even have to work, but it was just my parents are entrepreneurs, and I just seen the drive in them and how my mom helped everyone. My mom had a skilled nursing facility, she had a foster home, she had a group home for elderly, she had a boarding home. So I grew up in an entrepreneur background. So for me, I felt like I was born working,
Right.
so helping out. And so I just feel like, God really paved the way along with my mom. So if I had to do something different, I wouldn't even, because I love the journey, and I think everything that happens in my life has happened for a reason. And it has taught me so much more about myself and my surroundings and the people that I come in contact with.
That's awesome. I just want to say that your mom raised an amazing daughter.
Thank you.
And you're definitely carrying on her legacy and her torch because she instills some amazing values in you. And you are living proof that it can be passed down. And so I salute you for that.
Thank you.
So how is it being a mom,
Starting over being a mom.
Yes. Starting over
Right.
being a mom.
I'm enjoying the journey. I can tell you when I was, with my kids, when I first moved to Houston, it was kind of hard trying to, because I was always working, and I would have to, maneuver my schedule to spend time. And at that time, I wasn't an entrepreneur when I first moved. So raising kids, having to work a 9 to 5, it was kind of hard because I missed things. I had to juggle my schedule. I had to call in. But right now, being a full-time entrepreneur, having the flexibility and having just the time right now in my life, because, this wasn't, and I'll be honest, it wasn't something that I was like, okay, I'm just going to go and adopt a baby, God, that was my assignment, and I had to fulfill that assignment. And when I tell you, God has equipped me with everything that I need doing this journey. So I'm really loving the motherhood. At times I'm like, girl, I'm doing this all over
again. Yeah.
But
she seems to have a lot of spunk and character too.
She do, and I was telling somebody today, like, God truly blessed me with the perfect child because she's a kid that can play by herself. She really not an outside person unless she's in the water. She doesn't require a lot. She loves to talk. She does have a sense of humor, but it just fits. It fits even with my work schedule, and so now I had to sit back because I've always have been a busy person. And just so happened the other day, she was like, I think it was Tuesday. She was like, Mom, I didn't know you watched TV because I was laying in the bed watching TV. So those are some moments that, I know my kids didn't get to see because I was always working to provide. So now I'm able to take that time off, fix my schedule. Hey, we want to travel this week. You want to go here? Let's do a play date. So I'm enjoying this journey.
You guys actually just went on a cruise.
We did.
How was that with the corona scare and everything going on?
It was really nice. One thing Carnival did to make sure that, they ensured our safety. They made sure there was hand sanitizer. No one could fix their own food. So that was a good thing. But I'll tell you, they used a lot of precaution. And, it was a really nice cruise. We was able to go to every port that was, on our agenda. They had all kind of activities. They gave us onboard credit. So they really did a great job.
They did.
Yeah.
I want to ask you another question.
Okay.
Because I know you get this. You work with diverse children.
Mm-hmm.
You see no color. And I know that you get it a lot. And I saw that when you went on your cruise, you got a lot of weird looks because your daughter is of a different nationality.
Right.
Can you share with me just how that affects you and how you handle that in that situation? Because that's prevalent. It's actually a real situation that no one wants to address, that elephant in the room.
I was talking to my friend. We took a trip last year, and we would say we was going to do this tour called Black Moms That Adopt, because she adopted a girl. And one thing that I realized, being at home is kind of okay dealing with it because, hey, I could just be the nanny. I could just, I could be the caretaker taking this child somewhere. Who knows? But even on the cruise, because you have a diverse of people that's coming from all over the world, it was challenging, but it was one of those, like, hey, it is what it is. And I never want her to feel uncomfortable. And one thing that we never had to have that conversation about, mommy's, African American, you're Japanese, because she loves me and I love her. So we don't really talk about color, but I noticed as we were leaving out, she mentioned when we were going through, we was dressed alike, and we did that a couple times on a cruise, and of course, people was hearing her say mommy, and the looks was like, and of course, I felt like on a cruise, it was just like, it was a lot of it. When I tell you the people that worked on a cruise embraced us, because I'm sure they see it all the time. But then you got the people that's whispering and looking and staring, and we got that entire cruise. But I'm like, the first day, okay, second day, but I'm talking about we was on a cruise for 7 days. So I ain't just get this child this first, second day. She's been with us. She's calling me mom. And, after so much, of course, at first I would get like, but I'm just like, we in a world where I don't feel color should matter. So it was just like, hey, it is what it is. And I just didn't let it bother. We enjoyed our time, and we went to dinner. And I think what was the aha moment for us is because like the nights that we did our dining room, we had our own table. And every night we went to that same table. So the people the first couple of days was whispering and looking. I guess once the waiter started embracing her and started calling her by her name, and they already knew her. So it was like a more relaxed, but that was like day 5 in the cruise, But, at this point, I'm used to it.
Now, that's beautiful. And I commend you because, baby, they would... I don't know. I would have had to tell them a few things about when they come behind me and mine, blood or not. That's my baby, and we not finna play about
the first day, I was just like, what are they staring at? Yeah. I could just tell. And, of course, immediately you want to just go off.
Yeah.
But I was just like, okay, I'm gonna just let it ride, because I deal with it a lot. I had to prove and make my way in the school system dealing with that, and then I dealt with it in my neighborhood, because my neighbors, we never really go out. They was asking, are you the nanny knocking on my door? We live in a predominantly Caucasian neighborhood, and I'm like the only African American that's in our like little area. So I'm used to that part, but thinking about, I'm raising a Japanese daughter, how am I going to adapt her? But I'll tell you, she adapt well, okay? You cannot tell her she's not African American, okay?
She's one of us now.
Okay. Yeah, because people was like, are you looking for your mommy? And she's like, that lady need to mind her business. So, she has that now. She knows, because she knows now. So she's just like, we was coming. Actually, what I was saying, we were leaving out. And I was like, dang, he didn't even see we were dressed alike. So he was asking for, our last name was different on her birth certificate. And she was like, Mama, do you think they did that because we're a different color? I was like, no, baby, And so just tried to blush it off, blow it off or whatever. But I never want her to feel uncomfortable. And one thing that I love, how she don't see color. When I go to school, she always want me to come. And she always tell her friends, my mama's here. And you should see the looks on the kids' faces. But now they love me like I'm their mom. So, I'm just like, hey. And I'm really looking forward to the journey. As we had went to Vegas a few weeks ago, and I seen an Asian girl, and she was probably maybe about 15, 16. And I was telling my friend, I was like, you know what? I can't wait to see how she blossomed into a preteen and a teenager and a young woman. So I'm here for it.
Now, I want to ask you, in your career, have you been exposed to like CPS and court and stuff like that?
I have.
And did that play a role in inspiring you to advocate for our children and be a voice? Because I'm sure with CPS, I have other friends as well that work with the system in CPS, and they're exposed to everything from domestic violence to, child neglect. And it's disheartening. I actually had a friend that had to quit because they kept giving the child back to the parent that was unfit, and she didn't understand. So how was that working? How close did you work with that?
Very close. I was one of those when I had the foster kids in the home. I would go to court because I wanted to make sure I'm understanding what's going on. You can't just call me on the phone and say this is happening. And I think for as far as me going and starting my nonprofit, I was seeing things I didn't like. Kids was going back into the system. You can't get a clear answer on what's going on. So that's why I started going to court and being an advocate. And that's how I ended up getting my daughter, because I was her advocate at court. And we have a parent that's saying, instead of allowing this child to go to a home where she's adopted, a loving home, let's just keep her in the system till she's 18. At that point, the bio parent still have rights. They can still see the child, but then the child can be tossed and turned everywhere, all around. I've seen CPS workers that just there for a paycheck, and hey, they get to just let the kids go back home instead of just really taking the time to evaluate. Every child is different. The second part, I've seen CPS workers where we work hand in hand, to go through investigations to figure out what this child needs. So there's a lot of things over the next couple of years. I definitely want to make sure that I'm putting myself out there and being a bigger voice for these kids, because there's so much more that the public eye don't see that we have to go through, and being a voice for not just foster kids but foster parents, because we can advocate for kids all day long, but like I said, you got to go back to the core. You can have as many kids in the system, but if you don't have foster parents, what you gonna do with these kids? And then who's the voice for the foster parents? Mm-hmm. So you have RTCs where you can pay these people $9 and $10 an hour. You're going to get $9 and $10 worth of work, because they're not going to care. They're not going to have a passion. They're going to be there for the paycheck. They're going to mistreat the kids, talk to them crazy. But then on the flip side, I want to build that community that we have a voice for the children, not only the children, but for the parents. Because who can I cry out when I'm having an aha moment? Mm-hmm. I can't call my agency and say, hey, I'm having, a moment with this child. I'm having to go to school every day. We don't have that support. So that is one of the things that I'm working towards, going into the next couple of years. We talk about building a village for everybody, but we need to truly build a village for everybody.
Now, you go by Coach Nicky Jay. Tell me the meaning behind that name.
Coach Nicky Jay. So a couple years ago, I finished my life coach certification, because that was one of the things, working with the kids. And really, when I started the group sessions for domestic violence, I always reference back to the kids, because I have a huge passion for children. I know at the age of 15, I was doing things that my parents didn't know about. So, I wanted to always go back and grab that little girl that may be going through the mirror image of who I was as a kid. So, and then so then when I got the certification, I was like, okay, well, I'm a life coach adults, but then I would always find myself going back and talking to the younger kids, talking to the teenagers. So then I switched gears, and then I got my Christian counseling, because I want to be able, I want to apply God to everything that we do. So behind the coach, I am a coach. So right. I also have, my life coach sessions with my adults, but, going towards, we're in 2020, I definitely want to go back and grab these teenage girls and, and have an organization to help these boys as well.
Mm-hmm. I'm so proud of you, Nikki.
Thank you.
I'm so proud that you're my friend in real life. And, recently we fellowshipped. That was what was
Sarah
the name?
Jakes.
Yes, Sarah Jakes. And it was, what was the name of that? Because all I could think of is The Future is Female. And that was our thing. We all had our shirts that said The Future is Female. And it was just beautiful to fellowship with like-minded CEOs and women that are, living out their dreams, their destinies, business owners. So I appreciate you, because, this year I set out to be surrounded by, like-minded individuals, to have reciprocal relationships where we could both pour into one another. So I definitely thank you for pouring into me and for thinking about me, and also for blessing my platform with your presence. Yes. And do you do speaking engagements?
I do.
And if someone wants to book you for a speaking engagement, how would they go about that?
They can reach me at the info at the Six Figure Coach, or I'm on all platforms, social media. I'm under Nikki Jackson. You can hashtag Coach Nicky Jay. Instagram is Coach_Nicky Jay. Also, you can contact me via, we have a phone line. It's 281-617-8136. And we talk about all platforms as far as going into schools, group homes, anywhere. I don't mind talking to anybody, anytime, because truly, you never know. I always have that saying, you never know what the person went through the night before. So always make sure, that next morning, smile, say hi, because, that can make a huge difference in somebody's life. We can't give hugs right now.
Yes, but you can definitely give a smile for free.
And just ask somebody, how you doing? It don't take much. You never know. You walking on the elevator. One thing that I watch people body language, especially women that got their head down, how you doing? You having a bad day today? Or just ask, hey, your hair is, it's always good to give a compliment. And that's one thing about women. We don't like giving other women compliments.
I do all day long.
Yes, and we need to continue to do that.
Yeah.
Uplift each other, because it's enough to go around for everybody. And truly, you definitely want, I love the future is female. That was something that God had told me to do over a year ago. And I just kind of like played around with it. But just women, having a platform of women that network, that go to work, but also love God and just truly unapologetic. Like, I'm not churchy,
Right.
but I love God. But,
yes.
I love life too. And I want to live and not just exist. And I definitely want to rub elbows with other women that have that same, that same thing that they want to do as well. So I'm excited. Thank you for blessing me with this opportunity. Thank you for coming out to the event. It's just, when I see your face, I always see this smile and this glow all the time.
Thank you.
Yeah,
it's a blessing to be a blessing.
It is.
And sometimes when I'm low, the same people that I bless, they reciprocate, and we just keep on blessing each other.
Yeah.
So it's a beautiful thing. Now, I want to also bring up your website, your Beyond Fostering website. People can go there now if they want to. Are they able to donate, sponsor? All that information is right there on the website. Your website address is
beyondfostering.org.
Yes, and so they can go there and find out how they can be a part of your movement as well.
Yeah, they can go on there. They can sign up to volunteer. They can get a newsletter. They'll also know about our upcoming events that we're going to have going on. We're getting ready to launch this thing called Beyond the Snack Box, and we're going to do that next week. I don't have a specific day, but Beyond the Snack Box, we did a survey with the parents this past week to see what was some of the things that we're able to get them during this time. One of the things that the parents said was snacks. That was like, I can tell you all the parents said snacks. And you have to realize, when I went to the store, all the meat was gone, the milk was gone, the bread, the water, all those necessity things. But let's be honest, kids love snacks. The snacks was still there. So if I had to make a choice of buying food versus snacks, I'm going to buy food. So one thing that we're going to do, we're asking people to give donations. It could be donations of snacks, a monetary donation, and we're going to do snack boxes for children that are in foster care and their parents can come pick it up.
That is awesome. You always giving back some kind of way.
Girl, I don't know how not to.
Yes.
I don't know how not to.
Yes, so you have all these different platforms. At this time, I want to ask all of our viewers, all of our watchers, to make sure that you like and subscribe us on any platform that suits you. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Spreaker, Spotify, SoundCloud, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, and Google Play. Make sure that you like, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. At this time, I want to give a special shout out to our sponsors, Future All-Stars of Texas. You can find them on multiple platforms. Future All-Stars is a premier athletic program in Texas for preschool through second grade, serving private schools. Give your future All-Star everything they need to succeed in a fast-paced world of youth sports. This program is designed to introduce students of all skills necessary for the athletic edge they need as a junior athlete. The goal of Future All-Stars is not only to build fine motor skills, but to establish confidence and self-esteem through personalized training. Obesity is a huge concern among parents all over America. Giving your future All-Star the best foundation will lead to a lifetime of success. Be sure to check them out on futureallstarsofamerica.com and enroll your child or your student today. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm your host, Onney, the CEO. Be sure to follow me on all social media platforms at Onney. That's Onney, the CEO. And I want to thank our guest again, Coach Nicky Jay, for joining us. This was an awesome show, an awesome segment. Tell a friend to tell a friend to join us.
Yes.
And thank you again for living fearless and free with Outside the Box.
Wow.